Welcome to the Hard Truth Podcast. This is Jeremy Fouts, and today I'm going to be talking about the 90-day game plan. The 90-day game plan that I've implemented pretty much for the last 15 years that has made a big improvement in who I am today.
Let's go!
I'm excited about today's podcast because, as I mentioned, the plan that I want to share with you is what has helped me for the last 15 years get to where I'm at today in life. And one thing I will say, all of you, no matter where you are listening right now or watching on YouTube, it doesn't matter where you are right now. The question is, do you have a 90-day game plan that you can continue doing for 8 times for the next 2 years in order to be in a spot where you want to be? That is the question. The reason I know this game plan works is because, again, I have implemented this into my life. That definitely made life-changing results for myself and my family, and I continue to work this 90-day plan now. Now, there's been a time in my retirement days that I maybe did not follow this plan, and I watched myself slip, and then I go straight back and say, what am I doing for my 90-day game plan? And I'm going to talk to you about the 5 points that is very crucial for you to implement in your 90-day game plan. So let's get off starting with number 1. The first thing, and next to my faith, there's nothing more important than this, and that is your personal fitness, which is your workout plan, your nutrition plan, and your sleep pattern. All 3 of these are so crucial for all the aspects of well-being and health, which is your hormones, which is your mental mindset. I mean, a lot of people think working out is definitely going to be a benefit from a physical standpoint, and there is good physical things that, as far as looking in the mirror, that happens if you follow a workout plan. But I will tell you this, and stats have proven that the most important piece of the puzzle from a strict workout plan and nutrition plan and the right amount of sleep is what it does for your mental state. See, these other 4 points that I'm going to talk about here in a few minutes is very, very good, and it's very crucial to the 90-day game plan. But if you don't have the right mindset, and if you're not raring to go on a daily basis, you're not crisp, you're not sharp, you don't want to be present, you don't want to put your effort into the things you need to put into every day, it does not matter. So personal fitness, workout plan. I'm not going to get into the whole topics of everything I do, but you need to write out a structured workout plan. I use the CoreVive app. I know exactly what workouts I'm going to do 6 days a week, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I have exactly what days I'm doing legs, exactly what days I'm doing chest, back, cardio, all these different things in an app, and I know exactly what my workouts are going to be. It measures how much my weight I use. I try to increase my weight or increase my reps on a weekly basis to get stronger, to get better. Don't just say you've got a workout plan because you saw something on Instagram. You're going to do a few bicep curls and you're going to do this for 15 minutes and then go home. I'm talking about a workout plan that is going to drain you physically, and when you leave there, you're going to say, I feel good. Trust me, if you do that, you'll know what I'm talking about. Nutrition plan. You know, we've heard the story of you cannot outwork a bad diet. So just because you work out does not mean you go home and eat pizza every day and drink beer and all these different things that goes through the bad habits that a lot of us pick up on. This is all about having a plan nutrition-wise, not, again, just because it's going to make you look better when you're looking in front of a mirror. It's more of this food called nutrition and good supplementation. It makes you sharper. It helps you live a better quality of life. It's going to give you that energy to get up in the morning to be able to go work out. Doing those top things, guys, the nutrition plan is very, very crucial. And then sleep. I'm probably going to do a whole podcast just on sleep alone because I did not realize the importance of sleep, what it did for you from a hormone standpoint, building muscle standpoint, all these things until the last 5 years of my life. I wish I would have implemented this back in my 30s and the importance of sleep and what good sleep quality is. Now, here's a little thing that I wanted to share with you. I was reading a study the other day that said there's a brain structure in your brain. There's a brain structure in your brain called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. And there's a lot of data that has been proven that the only way that portion of your brain grows is when you do things you don't like to do. So let's think about this. This portion of your brain called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, the only way it expands and gets bigger, which means it's stronger, is when you do the things you don't want to do. Now, how many of these people don't want to go to the gym every day? How many of these people don't want to eat a good nutrition plan? How many of the people would rather stay up and watch Netflix and get good quality of sleep? And it's been proven through this data that more obese people, that portion of the brain is really small. Athletes that are driven to be able to accomplish something great, that portion of the brain is extremely big. Learn how to do the hard things. You say, I don't like to go to the gym. Well, if you really want to improve your life and the quality of your life and achieve something that you're proud to say, I've been able to build this, and you're wanting to build something for your kids, point at you and say, that's my dad, that's my mom. If you're listening today and you want to be that person that your kids are happy to say, that's my dad, that's my mom. They just got a promotion in their job. They just got through paying off their car debts. They just got through getting and physically fit, the best I've ever saw them before. They have a strict plan that they follow. They don't grab my chicken nuggets no more from Chick-fil-A. If you want to be that person, you have to exercise that portion of your brain, which is doing the things you don't want to do. Trust me, it's worth it. So first thing, personal fitness, workout plan, nutrition plan, sleep, and all the benefits that come from that. Number 2 is finances. I see a lot of people, they think that if I just make a little bit more money, then it's going to fix that situation. That's not the case. Matter of fact, here's a stat that I'll share. 78% of NFL players face financial trouble within 2 years of leaving the game. 78% of those guys, when they was on top of the world and spending money, and they're thinking, you know what, I'll be fine the rest of my life. Here's something I'll tell you about finances also. No one is responsible for your finances but you. And it's not their fault of where your finances are. No one owes you anything to come bail you out. So I'm telling you this right now. It doesn't matter if you're a six-figure income earner, if you're making $55,000, $65,000 a year. You need to learn how to create a budget and live off that budget and cut out all the things that is not necessary, the Netflix, the Shopify accounts, or whatever it is, the little grab this at the grocery store, grab this or that. Have a written plan of what you bring in, what's going out, what can I cut out, and have a written plan and stick to it. Now you say, well, I make pretty good money. I don't have really any problem. Well, I bet you're probably spending $2,000 or $3,000 a month on things that if you put that in a retirement fund, you put that in a mutual fund, no telling what that's going to compound into later on 4, 5, 6 years. So it's being a good steward of your finances and understanding. Another important part of your finances is after you create a budget, a good written plan, then I encourage everyone to have an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months. There's always tragedy that comes into people's lives. It's either coming or just left. I mean, that's just my theory behind it. I'm living proof. One of these days, I'm going to share with you some of the things that's happened to me that was unexpected. And 3 to 6 month emergency fund just secures you. You say, you know what? I'm a VP of a bank. Everything's great. And I hope it is. But you know how many people I've talked to in my office that had $250,000 a year salaries, thought nothing would go wrong, and all of a sudden something bad went wrong, like the housing crisis in 2008. Next thing you know, they're sitting in my office. They don't have a clue what to do. It's important to have a good emergency fund of 3 to 6 months. Next, I encourage everyone to pay off the debt other than your home, but pay off the other things that is eating you up. Credit card debt, car payments, over and over. I've tried to teach my boys. I'll never forget Pearson and I sitting at a deer camp, and there was a newspaper article about a Ford truck that was like $600 a month. He said, "Dad, it's only $600 a month." And this has been 15 years ago. And we took a calculator out, and I was like, well, okay, but here's the interest. And the truck costs $45,000. Now you can't get one for that. And by the time you pay this off in 72 months, you've paid $60,000 for that truck. A 6-year-old kid looked at me and said, "Why would someone do that?" So understand, guys, live the way that you need to live on that written plan. Don't try to go impress the Joneses. Impress the Joneses by dumping that extra income, for it can compound interest, and I promise you, you're going to win in the long run. Next is financial goals. Guys, goals that drive you. If you're married, I encourage you to sit down with your spouse, go over everything that you need to do with your finances, and say, here's where we are now. But if we pay this debt off, now we start investing this much, in 2 years we could be here. And then 2 years later, we can be here. Look up the Rule 72, Google that, and understand the importance of compounding interest. But have a good written plan and find motivation of what it is that you want to achieve through the goals that you want to accomplish. I wrote down another little side note of learn how to earn extra income. I'm about to talk about time here in a few minutes and how much time people waste. If you say, I've got a pretty decent job, but I don't know how to earn extra income. Guys, there's tons of different ways to earn extra income. I have an affiliate program at our company. There's affiliate programs everywhere. You can mow yards. You can detail cars. On the weekends, instead of watching football, drinking beer, or instead of doing all these other things that men do and women, I know the little stories that you watch on Netflix and little things that you do here and there. I mean, guys, you can find a way to earn extra income to speed up that process if you want to. Number 3 is relationships. Now, let me again make sure you're following along with me. This is a 90-day game plan that if we monitor these 5 things every 90 days, and you really judge yourself on how much of an improvement you're making on these 5 things, your life is going to change. Trust me, I'm living proof of that. So relationships, 50% of marriages end in divorce. Think about that. 50%. Now, why is that? Oh, they just fell out of love. Well, I'm not going to talk about the little situations here and there, but I will tell you this. The reason 50%, that big a percentage, end in divorce is because they don't want to do the hard things. They don't want to spend that time of maybe going and saying, "I was wrong, honey. I apologize. I did not handle myself correctly. Let's go on a date Friday night. If you're trying to save money and live on a budget, let's send the kids somewhere and let's make some food at home. Let's rekindle that relationship. Let's fall back in love. Let's spend some time with that." It takes work. Yes, it does. But it's so worth it for that commitment that you made to say, I'm going to renew this commitment. I'm going to spend time there in that relationship. You say, well, why is that so important? I can tell you so many different people that may be physically fit. They may have a lot of income in their bank, but they do not have a spouse that respects them, looks up to them. They do not have that love that they once had. And it's just a matter of time that they're going to find themselves sitting on a park bench by themselves with a physically fit body and maybe good finances, but no one to share life with. Trust me on that. Relationships. Here's another stat. 41% of teenagers say they don't have a good relationship with their parents. It's sad, man. It's sad that a mom and dad bring kids into today's world, that's their commitment, that's their responsibility, and they don't want to get off their phone and talk to little Johnny and say, Johnny, tell me about your day. Johnny, we're going on a camping trip this weekend. Johnny, we're going to be doing this together. Sally, we're going to do this together. It takes work, but this is another very important piece of the puzzle that you have to measure every 90 days. What's my fitness like? What is my relationships like? What are my finances like? Because if you don't measure these every 90 days, you're not going to end up where you want to. Here's something else that I put down: work and develop new relationships with people that are where you want to be in life. Now, I'll put that important piece in there because, when I say just go make new relationships, you don't need to be going to happy hour and just trying to make new friends. You need to go into places and finding the people that have life together, a husband and wife, if you're married, that have a strong relationship, someone that has proven to be going to the gym, to someone that understands finances, but continue to build those new relationships of people. Don't expect anything in return. If you're in sales, don't say, oh, Jeremy's got a great point, I'm going to go meet some new people and then increase my sales. Don't go out and build new relationships for only what you can gain, but understand that if you're around the good quality people, that's going to help you as far as moving and advancing in the direction that you want to move and advance. Number 4 is time management. I had a gentleman back when I was probably about 33. I'll never forget this. Very successful man, multi-millionaire. And we had a good discussion. I had a great visit with him, and I was walking away, and I love talking to old people. I mean, and now I'm one of those old people, but I love talking to old people and asking them for wisdom. And I looked at him and I said, Mr. Lance, I said, one thing I want to ask you, do you have any wisdom for me that you would, give me advice on something that's very important? And he looked me straight in the eye and he said, do not fall through the cracks of time. He said, the cracks of time is what destroys people's lives. It's the 2 minutes here, 4 minutes there, 7 minutes there, an hour here that they could have been doing something very productive and they chose not to. And those little bitty cracks of time end up being large cracks of time, and they get nowhere in life. Here's a few other stats. I'm a big stats guy. 2 hours and 23 minutes per day is what the average person spends on social media. 3 hours a day is what an average person spends watching TV. Now, here's this stat. I have people often that want me to coach them, want me to help them with life. They'll call me up with questions, and it's always that victim mindset person that says, well, I should be making more, but the person that's working beside me, they got the promotion or they got a bonus and I didn't. I've been at this job longer. My boss doesn't like me. It's a political game. All these different excuses. Here's what this stat says. On a recent study, out of 1,000 people, the average person is expected to work an 8-hour per day. They admitted 1,000 people in this survey that on average, they only work 4 hours a day. They spend the rest of that time surfing the internet, doing all these things on their phone, spending time in the break room. And let me tell you, and it may hurt your feelings, but that's the reason you didn't get the promotion. That's the reason you didn't get the bonus. Is most of you listening, you want your life to change, but you're not willing to change yourself. And I'm telling you, if you understand the importance of time management, there's 86,400 seconds in every day. What are you doing daily to become better? See, the reason I'm a big 90-day game plan person is because if you listen to this podcast and you say, my life is going to change and I'm going to own it, I'm going to take responsibility, what do I need to do, Jeremy? Set out right now, sit down, put together a piece of paper, figure out your structured workout plan, what time you're going to wake up in the morning, what you're going to eat in the morning, how much you're going to spend in the gym, what you're going to be doing in the gym, or if you're a runner, how many miles are we going to log tomorrow? Are we going to sit down and do a budget, and we're going to be working on our extra finances? We're calling our insurance company to make sure we have adequate life insurance in case something happens. We're calling our car insurance company and figuring out if we can find a cheaper and cutting out expenses there. We're spending, guys, when you are driven and every day you have purpose for that time because you see where you want to be in life, then you will not fall through the cracks of time. Understand the importance of time management. Another side note that I'll tell you is learn how to say no. I didn't learn this until I was probably 33 or 34. I'm a very loving person, very caring person. Someone could call me, hey, can I buy you coffee? I'd say, I really don't want to go, but I'll go anyway because they asked me. You know what? I'm not saying I won't ever go have coffee, but I'll learn to say, you know what? I can't right now, but if something changes, I'll give you a call. That day doesn't look good for me. When I have a day that opens up, I'll give you a call. But have good time management skills because you do not want to fall through the cracks of time. The last point, number 5, and this is going to sum it all together, is make a 2-year promise and measure it every 90 days. There is 90 days in 2 years. Here's the reason I learned to break it down, and I've trained a lot of people, hundreds of thousands of people in the last 20-something years. Here's what I've learned. If I just told every one of you, let's get a dream list and let's just dream about where we want to be in 2 years. Every one of you, you'd sit here and say, man, I want to live in this house. I want to be driving this car. And if I just said, man, that's awesome. I hope your ship comes in. Congratulations. You know where you want to be 2 years from now. Every one of you more than likely would not accomplish that if you did not have 90-day goals and take small steps in order to accomplish what we want to accomplish in 2 years. The first 90 days is hardest when you grab an ink pen and you say, you know what, what's my workout plan going to be? I'm cutting out a lot of my carbs. Here's my nutrition plan. I'm going to follow the keto diet, or I'm going to follow the paleo, or I'm going to not cheat for 90 days. I'm not drinking for 90 days. I'm not doing sugar for 90 days. No processed foods. I'm going to get 6 to 7 hours of sleep, good quality sleep every night. I'm going to be reading this personal development book. I'm going to be doing all of these things in 90 days. I've got a written plan on my finances. My wife and I have talked about what we want to accomplish in the next 2 years. We know what debts we need to attack first. All these different things. Then I promise you, if you can do that the first 90 days, you're going to see progress. You're going to go to the mirror and you're going to take your shirt off and you're going to say, man, I actually can see an ab. You're going to sit down at your finances and really look at them hard, and you're not going to ignore the drawers that you ignored for a while, and you're going to say, man, we've got 3 credit cards paid off, and I've decreased my insurance companies. I called and negotiated with them, and I've did this, and we've decreased our monthly payments out to the Netflix and things that we don't have to have by $600 a month. And you know what? I sold that new brand new truck I thought I had to have, and bought a less expensive truck, and because we have a 2-year vision of what we want to accomplish. And you know what? Things are starting to work. I've said no to my friends about golfing because I told them that my wife and I we're on a mission for the next 2 years to change our life. And all of a sudden things start coming together. And at the end of 90 days, you and your husband are looking at each other and say, this thing is working. We worked on our relationships. We're doing date nights. I've spent time with my kids. They're looking up to me. They're asking me questions. They're saying, Dad, what would you do in this situation? All these different things. And then you're going to say, okay, honey, we did it. We got 190 days down. We only have 7 more to go. and then you make new goals in 90 more days, and you say, I'm going to follow it again for 90 more days. You do it again. I guarantee you, if you follow all 5 of these things in 90 more days, you look up and you say, you know what? We've got 2 of them accomplished. Now we just have 6 more 90-day goals to happen. But remember, honey, our promise, what we promised ourselves is in 2 years, we're going to have everything paid off but the house. We're going to be physically fit. We're going to be mentally sharp. We're going to have strong relationship ourselves. We're going to have kids that understand what it is that they want to accomplish. We're going to be that example for them. You know, we're not falling through the cracks of time, because we have a structure of what we're doing every day, and we're reading the books, we're developing, we're becoming better. And I promise you guys, if you will follow the 90-day game plan, and you have a strong promise that you are not going to break that promise, your life is dramatically going to change. You say, Jeremy, how do you know? I'm a testimony of it. I'm a testimony of I always had a gift to make income. I can make a lot of income, and then something would happen, and then I would lose it, and then I would go back up, and then I would come back down, and then I'd go back up, and I was tired of the yo-yo. And at 32 years old, I followed the 90-day game plan. I had a 1.5-year-old son, another son on the way, and I looked my wife in the eyes, and I said, in 4 years, we will never have to worry about finances again. I made a 2-year promise of what I needed to do to get out of the situation I was in. I started 90 days at a time, and in 2 years, I made that first step. In 2 more years, I made a bigger promise, and I was able to look my wife in the eye and said, I accomplished it. Took me 4 years, but we will never have to worry about finances again. The 90-day game plan. I'm proven testimony, it works. The question is, do you work? See, anybody can make a plan. Everyone can do a plan for a little bit, but can you be consistent and follow a 90-day game plan 8 times? And the real question is, what's going to help you be able to accomplish that is the promise big enough? Do you look at your wife? Do you look at your husband? Do you look at those kids and say, I promise to you, I'm going to give you the best possible life, and I'm not quitting on me, I'm not quitting on you, and I'm going to follow these 5 steps in the 90-day game plan. Thank you guys for listening to Hard Truth Podcast. Share this with your friends and family that you may think can benefit. Follow me on social media, jeremyfouts.com as well. Until next time, thank you for joining the Hard Truth Podcast.
Let's go!